this episode, we're featuring the Barndominium layout and footers.
Hi everybody, this is Dave. Today we're going to start the footers for our pole building. We're building a 40 by 100 with 12-foot porch on two sides, a Barndominium. So anyway, we're going to get ready to do the footers on those. They got to be 24-inch diameter. The post has got to be 4 feet in the ground with a minimum of 8 inches of concrete underneath it. So we're going to drill them about 54 inches below grade. We're going to pour 8 to 10 inches of concrete and let that dry up for a couple days, and then we're going to start setting posts. So let's get started. You know that your building is a certain dimension, let's say 10 by 10. So you pound a stake in, and then you go approximately 90 degrees. You go down and you pound another stake in, and you pound all 4 corners in. And all 4 lengths are 10 foot long. But for some reason, it's not square. What needs to happen is the hypotenuse from this corner to the opposite corner and opposites on the other 2 corners have to be the same. So the way that you do that is by setting up a board, put a little screw in it, run you a string line, and start measuring this square. And you keep moving this around until this corner and the opposite corner measure the same as the other 2 corners. Then you have to double check to make sure that you've kept it 10 foot by 10 foot. And that's where a lot of people make a mistake, because if you're off a couple inches, then really you'll just want to move one just maybe a half or 3/4 of an inch, and then mirror image the same thing on the opposite corner, because as you move this 10 foot gets longer. As you move this one, this gets longer or shorter, depending on where you move this screw. So if all 4 sides are the same length, and you're exactly the same length across the corners, then you've got it. Now this stake is just here as a beginning mark. Once we get our corners up, we really don't have a lot of need for this stake. Once we get these moved where we want to, and we get our measurement across there, so we know 10 feet's not the actual measurement, but every time you move this line gets shorter. Every time you move that one, it gets longer or shorter that way. So you have to mirror all the movements that you make. Then once you do that, then you can come in and make your mark. This is where your corner's at. Now another thing that people can make some mistakes doing this is they go, well, that's my corner, and they start beating that in, and it's not plumb. You need to keep everything as plumb as possible. Even in what we're doing, what we're doing is drilling. We're drilling footers for setting posts for a pole barn or barndominium. We're going to have some leeway. The holes are going to be 2 foot in diameter. They're going to be approximately 48 inches deep from the surface, not from grade. Grade will be higher than that. So in theory, these holes are going to be 5 foot deep. We're going to drill them 5 foot deep. We're going to put about 11 to 12 inches of concrete in each one. In the very bottom, we'll set the post on that, and then we'll pour concrete around it. You know, after the footings have had a chance to set up. So anyway, if I was doing this right now, I'd take my spray can, my marking paint, and I would make me an X right here if this is where I want it. And then basically I'd work from this point, and I'd go down, I'd mark out the center of all of my holes. The other thing to keep in mind is we're setting 6x6s, so they're 5.5 inches square. So when you're talking about the center of your hole, you're going to be 2 3/4 to the center, 2 3/4 to the center. So where you'll start your drill will be 2 3/4 inches in, 2 3/4, 2 3/4. So if we were sure that's plumb, that would be actually where the center of my hole is. And all the posts going down this way would be 2 3/4 in from the string on the center. Same thing down through here. That's just allowing for that post to be right here on this line. So before I started drilling the holes with the skid steer, I marked all of their locations with white marking paint in the shape of an X. It's important to get your auger exactly on your X, and it's also very important that you keep the hole plumb all the way to the bottom. Otherwise the bottom will shift over and you won't be able to get your post in straight. Just nothing more important than location in this situation. Okay, so I had to go back into each hole about 3 times. There was 46 holes, so quite a bit of back and forth. Took about a day and a half. Once the bottom of the holes were good and tight, we checked them all with a transit to make sure that they were at least to the depth that we wanted. A lot of them were a little deeper, and then we filled them with approximately a foot of concrete, minimum of a foot of concrete. Well, I'm all done with the auger work, so now it's time to tamp the holes in and track the grade in. This is just a 10-foot piece of pipe. I've got a union welded to a old excavator part, and so I can take this pipe off and use it for something else. Put this away, but this makes for pretty nice tamping fixture. These holes are about 55 inches deep, and so it's kind of hard to reach down in there unless you have like a tamping tool for, let's say, working with telephone poles or something like that. So this is just something I made up right quick, and it does a pretty good job. Time to track it in with the excavator. Basically just the loose dirt that's laying everywhere from me carrying piles on the auger. Just kind of tracking that in, packing it back down, so not tripping over it and carrying it around everywhere. So anyway, we're going to track it in, get this place cleaned up.
I'm excited. The concrete truck is here. So to calculate how much concrete you use or need,
Online's a lot of concrete calculators that are very helpful. You just plug and chug the numbers and it'll tell you how much you're going to need. Okay. As I mentioned earlier, 8 inches is the code in our area, but kind of a game time decision. We went ahead and went with 12 inches. It evened out the concrete delivery a little better. That way we weren't wasting concrete. Hang on. Okay, that's good. All right. Do what, brother? I felt one a little bit wetter me. Oh man, it's a little wetter.
So the next phase of the project will be setting the post, and then James will be back with some more concrete.
If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments and I'll get back with you. So if you're getting ready to embark on your own barndominium project, barn or shed, we sure hope that you get something out of all this and that you enjoy it. Again, please hit the subscribe and the like button, and we look forward to seeing you next time.